WSFA-12 news cameras were the first to capture the chaos that ensued after a robbery at Title Cash on Atlanta Highway. Police say the 19-year-old suspect ran behind the row of businesses and into a residential neighborhood. Police say he first fired at the pursuing officers on Mimosa Drive. Ashley Myers and her mother heard it all.
We heard the shots right over here, and our van got shot, and so we run to my room. We locked the front door and we run to my room, and we're calling the cops.
But the situation wasn't over. The suspect then ran over the Forest Park Drive.
I heard some noise. I didn't know what it was. I walked out in the yard, the backyard with my dogs, and I heard a bunch of shooting going on. I told the dogs, I said, get in the house. And then the police was running all up and down the street.
Police say the suspect shot the police dog named Bodie in the face. Bodie's handler then shot the suspect. Police Chief Kevin Murphy says Bodie continued to go after the suspect even after it was shot.
And really at that phase in time, the dog was protecting the handler. Don't hurt my partner. And, you know, the partner, being the officer involved, went to the assistance of his partner.
Within a half hour, police had the situation under control, but it's something residents here will remember for a lot longer.
Shaken after maybe an hour after. It was crazy. We were out here, and I'd never really gone through anything like that before. It was scary.
Bray's Barbershop in Tuskegee, Alabama.
Move him.
In this place,
You done stole my man from me.
you'll get more than just a haircut.
My grandfather really was the catalyst. You know, he started it.
William Bray Jr. runs the shop now, and he's good with the clippers. But every once in a while, you can see he's a little distracted.
I'm gonna show you how to move, man. Y'all together. It's a very simple game, but complexity is in it.
In this shop, if you're not getting a cut, checkers is king.
It exercise your brain, and keep you on a thinking level.
And this might be a little bit different than the checkers that you're used to playing.
They are advanced checker players.
It's kind of like someone hit the fast forward button. And their mouths might move faster than their hands.
Pick them up, baby.
Act like you ain't got no sense.
My nickname is Baby Brother.
Sidney Weaving, the notorious mullet beater superstar bully.
Don't go.
Sometimes you even get a little song.
I's the king catcher.
Yeah,
I's the king catcher. Here comes one now.
I told you don't sing that song. I don't like that song.
Before you sit down, you better be ready to make some noise.
Come in.
Now the sound effects needed, you gotta go sigh.
Yeah. They stuck me at the rookie table, exactly where I belonged. It goes on all day, talking,
Tighten it up.
jumping, and most importantly,
Didn't I tell you I'd kill you by stealing?
having fun with friends.
You better get that out my front.
So, who's the best? Well, that probably depends on what day you stop by. But if you listen,
Tell him who the best checker player.
I call Brooke.
No,
I call Brooke the best.
I whoop you in Brook both.
I'm sure they'll let you know. In Tuskegee with photojournalist Jeff Harrison, I'm Judd Davis at along County Road 12.
Okay, Mr. Davis, I'm gonna cut some hair now.
Jeanette Vandermeer's home on Forest Lake was more than a wooden frame and bricks. It was love at first sight.
And we found this house and immediately called and fell in love with it and bought it. And we were here for 25 years.
Vandermeer's separation from her home happened almost as quickly. Within seconds, the wood that pieced together this 25-year-long love story was splintered.
It sounded like it was coming right down 17th Street. It didn't sound like a train to me. It sounded like an airplane jet engine.
6 months later, the landscape is still shockingly different. The hospital and other landmarks that were covered by trees are now in plain sight. As for Vandermeer's beloved lake, it's still hard for her to see.
I didn't expect the lake to look like this.
Forest Lake actually looks worse than it did after the storm. The water's being drained so the Army Corps of Engineers can come and remove all the debris.
I had planned to sell my house in a couple of years because I didn't need a two-story house in a big yard anymore. But I didn't expect to go out like that.
Vandermeer decided not to return to Forest Lake. She's living with her best friend and shopping for a garden home. A tough transition after spending a quarter of a century in a place she loved.
I still well up and start to cry because it's just where you spent 25 years of your life. It's where you came after you got married. It's where we raised James. You know, it was home.
Uprooted, yet growing through this painful recovery. Jennifer Oravent, WSFA 12 News.
Sam Adams is slowly accepting the fact the family business is gone.
Yeah, it's very upsetting. We're just so thankful that nobody was hurt, but you know, a lot of family memories and a lot of items that are irreplaceable from our family.
No mystery here as to what happened.
Started from a stove. They had built a fire in the stove, and soon something happened there, and the fire got up into the attic.
And this was a very difficult challenge for more than 40 volunteer firefighters from the very beginning.
It had a tin roof on it, makes it hard, and it being fully engulfed, you couldn't have anybody going inside to try to fight the fire.
Adams Glass started in 1953.
Selling peanuts and pecans, and also had candy, peanut brittle and fudge, that sort of thing. And then through the years kind of morphed into a gas, had a gas station, country store. And my dad's artwork has been what's the primary thing the past several decades.
The next step for the family?
Well, he's we're going to clean up, and then he's still figuring out the next parts.
The end of an era in Pike County. Brian Henry, WSFA 12 News.
The thing that comes to mind the most is the first month that I was with the department. We had several W3 fires, big fires. At 38, I remember thinking, geez, I don't know if I can do 20 years of this. It was very tough the first month, but luckily as things got easier with me, then things smoothed out. But it was really hard the first month to think, gosh, I've got 20 years of this. It feels great in a way. In a lot of ways it doesn't. I'm leaving a lot of friends, a lot of memories, a lot of people that I care a lot about. But also it's been a long journey, and it's time for me to go. It's wonderful to be able to serve the people that pay your salary and the people that appreciate you the way that Montgomery does. I've been all over town, and people in Montgomery, when you've done things for them as far as putting fires out and this type of thing, they really appreciate it, and you can see it on their face and you can tell it in their voice.
There is the snap.
Alabama. Auburn.
Go crazy, Cadillac! Go crazy!
A bitter rivalry cast in iron. A game that means everything. Montgomery resident Oakley Melton knows a little something about this game.
Well, last year was very disappointing.
He was there in Tuscaloosa and there in Auburn the year before that. If you're counting, he's been to the last 63 Iron Bowls.
Certain ones you do remember.
Oakley's not alone. In the late 90s, after he realized he'd been to 50 straight Iron Bowls, he started a club made up of Auburn and Alabama fans with just one rule.
Perfect attendance at all the games since '48.
Some games really stand out.
The 85 Van Tiffin game, nothing compares to that. See, the '48 game, Alabama was a 13-point favorite, but we beat them 55-0.
There's also been some he would probably like to forget. In 1989, for the first time, the Iron Bowl was played in Auburn.
It was hard. It was hard because hard to get tickets.
In 1997, Bama looked like they were in control.
Ed Sisson game was very disappointing because Alabama had a 2-point lead right down to the last few seconds and then fumbled the ball.
But the biggest Iron Bowl disappointment for Melton comes this year. For the first time in 63 years, he'll be watching from home.
It just breaks my heart, and I wanted to try every way I could to do it, and I've got 3 herniated disc in my back that just constant pain.
Now, halftime, let's say the game's tied 7-7. Is there a chance you might make a quick run over to Auburn just to be there for the second half?
No, I don't believe so.
So while the Tide and Tigers battle it out on the field, Oakley Melton, for the first time in more than 6 decades, will be in his lazy boy, cheering from home.